Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It is Wednesday, February 5th, 2020, and this is episode number 380, Hutch of Grey. I didn't wait until 3 minutes in to say the name of the episode, so this is great. This is a good show.
So let's quiz you, youngins. What is that title a reference of?
I'm going with the Just for Men stuff.
It's a song by a pretty famous band.
I don't know.
It's a Grateful Dead song, Hutch of Grey.
Ooh, okay. As much as I love Stu Gatz and Levitard and I love John Mayer, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm very ignorant to the Grateful Dead. So maybe I might look into that after the show. But that's why we have Adam Carlson here. He makes us learn even when we don't want to.
That's a good tune right there. I do recommend you check it out if you get a chance.
I will do that. And Kyle West is here. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good.
He is wearing a hat indoors.
He is also wearing a Calvin Klein shirt, and I want to reference Happy Gilmore and say, must be Burt Reynolds or something. What are you doing? Oh, wow.
True.
Yo, Adam's got a buddy.
Adam's got the rocking the office gear. You win, sir.
He does win.
It's always all about Truth Farms.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, we were just talking about that before the show started on The Office and Parks and Rec. I'm not going to get into that because Adam's going to hurt my feelings once again.
Really quick, I'm disappointed that episode of The Office is one that people skip all the time.
Oh, The Farm? The Farm's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and that's like one of the ones that Netflix said always gets skipped over. I'm like, I don't know why, because I thought that one was really funny. I enjoyed it.
Anything's better than Mafia. Anything is better than that Mafia episode. That's all I got to say.
I don't remember that one offhand.
When you guys know about Parks and Rec episodes, let me know. I'll jump right in.
That's one where Michael Scott's buying insurance and he thinks he's buying it from a mobster.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad.
I think out of just sheer respect for you, I'm going to do this Office marathon one more time because you know what's going to happen? I'm not going to watch it, and then when I want to, it's not going to be available, and I'm going to be very angry. So
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and get on that very soon.
Something else that isn't available, though, is Vikings football. We got the long off season.
Yeah. The worst day of the year was Monday after the Super Bowl is over. In case you guys care, the Kansas City Chiefs won for the first time in 50 years. I know my father was very excited. Kansas City beat the San Francisco 49ers. Patrick Mahomes, unrightfully, I don't even think that's a word, did not deserve the MVP, but he won the MVP. I was happy for him. I was happy for Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad they won and the Niners didn't. That's just me.
I was still, if I were to put money on this game, I still would have put it on the 49ers. But, man, they fell apart. It looked like they had that game in hand pretty well. And then they just started throwing the ball. And that just meant turnovers were coming, punts, and they weren't controlling the clock. They kept giving too many opportunities. The Chiefs had some things go their way, too, especially picking up fourth downs. They did that a couple times. It was really a game that KC had to play almost flawlessly, and they accomplished it to be able to beat a team that's super tough.
I like their defense stepping up, too. I think that they proved Jimmy Garoppolo, even when he is playing well and managed a game very well, when the pressure is on and they just figured it out. You know, you got to dig deep. Reminded me a lot of that Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl. Not that Kyle Shanahan blew another lead, but everything seemed to be out of the cards. And then one thing happens and it just kind of ignites a spark. In reference to that game, Dante Hightower stripping Matt Ryan of the ball. And this game, you get an interception, you start roughing him up. And at what seemed to be like just enough time in the fourth quarter, life happens. Life comes into the game. It was an exciting game. I definitely was with you. I thought the 49ers were going to win. But I'm happy the Chiefs won, man. I'm happy that Andy Reid finally got a Super Bowl.
I'm not a quarterback's coach, but I do have a piece of advice for Jimmy Garoppolo. The ball is usually thrown more accurately with your eyes open.
And not with two hands. Although I get why he did that. That was a fourth down thing. You just had to make an effort. But, yeah.
I get that you got pressure coming down on you, but just closing your eyes and tossing it up, you can't do that. Not in the Super Bowl.
What's up, Rod? What's up, Bob? We're going to get to you guys. I put this question up because I think I want to go dive right into this before we talk about any hits. Do you think the Vikings are staring down the barrel of a complete and total rebuild? I do not. I see this team, shockingly and surprisingly, I think this will be the first year, barring any crazy Teddy Bridgewater type injuries to anyone. I think this is a year that's going to change the narrative. You know how we went to the playoffs, missed the playoffs, missed. I think we're going to go back to the playoffs next year, and I think this could be like the Seahawks of last year. A lot of people thought they were going to be out of the picture. The Rams had taken over, blah, blah, blah. They found themselves right back in the mix. And I like the fact that Gary Kubiak is going to be the offensive coordinator. We're going to talk about that here shortly. But I like this team. I like the fact that we're going to keep some of the star players. We're going to lose a couple. We've mentioned that in some episodes, but I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do a complete total rebuild at all.
I don't even think there's enough turnover on the roster to call it any kind of rebuild at all. Most of the really key pieces are in place. Sure, they'll have to replace some corners. They got to install a little bit of help on the offensive line. But honestly, most of the key pieces are locked down. So, yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near a rebuild. I think it's still time for some patch jobs. I'm not ready to trade away all the key pieces for draft picks and do like a Madden style rebuild with all the creative players. I'm not ready for all that.
You can tell it's the off season because we have optimistic Kyle Smith with us this week.
I think there's going to be tweaks. Obviously, we're going to lose a piece here or there, but that also means we're going to have room to gain a piece. The draft is going to be good. Maybe you'll see a splash in free agency. I don't know. But no, I'm with Adam. This can't be a rebuild because it's not going to crumble. There are going to be some tweaks. Maybe there's going to be some Band-Aids added, maybe some Band-Aids ripped off. But no, not a rebuild.
It's what I've been saying.
We've seen some big changes on the staff.
Yeah.
But as far as on-field personnel, I don't think we're going to see that at all, no.
It's what I've been saying for a while now, too. If there's a rebuild coming, it's going to be after this season. Because that's when some contracts for some people potentially expire.
Some people.
Some people, whether it be Mike Zimmer or Kirk Cousins or Rick Spielman or so if they're going to do a total rebuild, it's going to be after this coming season.
Yeah, I can see that. And that would happen too. A total rebuild means this next year is going to be absolute shit for everyone.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think that's going to happen either. I think that we saw a side of Kirk that we haven't seen, and he hasn't played up to in this year. I like the fact that Mike Zimmer still he does two things at once, and I'm not trying to sound contradictory here, but he does stay true to what he's good at, but he's also shown that he's willing to look within himself and other ways to try to figure the whole thing out because he's been close a couple times, but he hasn't gotten to the big game, and he's going to give every effort to try and figure something out and find new ways, and I'm okay with that. I like that he's like that.
Rod's going back talking about the Super Bowl here. He says, I love the burn on the route on Richard Sherman. And Bleacher Report posted up that route and how it's been set up for Sherman to get burnt on that through watching tape, seeing tendencies. And they showed a couple other players doing that. One of them was Stephon Diggs.
Cool.
And Diggs replied to the tweet. And he wrote, doesn't matter, got sacked. And yeah, he had Sherman burned, like absolutely burned. But yeah, the result of the play was a sack. So what can you do? I don't think it was a dig at Cousins or the offensive line. It was just a result of the play.
I did hear that this morning, doing a lot of podcast listening and recapping on the Super Bowl, just kind of coming off of the hangover and the high that is the Super Bowl. And Richard Sherman was targeted 5 times. All 5 balls were caught, and I believe Mahomes had an over 100 passer rating. He did not have a good time, but I will give San Francisco the benefit of the doubt. For 3.5 quarters, they couldn't have played much better, to include Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they just got tired, man. All that speed
away from their strengths.
It's going to break away, and it's going to find its way out there eventually. And it did, unfortunately, for the 49ers at the very end of the game when they were very, very exhausted.
Mm-hmm. I still don't understand why they wanted to play anyone except Mostert after the start that he had in the Super Bowl, the streak that he was on. You could tell the difference between him and any other running back that they put in the game. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah, I think he would have set up a lot of things too. Like I think their fullback, Juszczyk, he's a very good fullback. You could set up a lot of other things based on the running attack that they had. Wasn't he getting close to like 6 yards a carry or something like that? It might have been more. It was crazy, especially through the playoffs. He was just so good, but I don't know.
But watching those plays are another reminder of why Minnesota might have to look into making a run-stuffing defensive tackle next to Linval Joseph a priority, because as much as I enjoy Shamar Stephen, he did not have one of his better seasons this year.
Yeah, we can talk about the draft here soon. It says it here it's the main topic, but we can jump around. We named the show after Hutch, so it's up to you guys. Where do you want to go with this? I think we could do, if I'm picking here, we could probably just go quickly over the opponents, and we can kind of vary between good old Steve Hutchinson and the draft. If you guys want to knock that out real quick.
Yeah, that'll work.
Sure.
It don't matter.
So
we make this up as we go.
Yeah, why not?
The points don't matter.
No, they were good reference.
So let's talk about the opponents here. The Vikings 2020 opponents. We're going to talk about the road first. So obviously we have the Bears, Lions, and the Packers every year.
What? I'm surprised.
Yeah. And spoiler alert: these are all three going to be played in Mexico City, because that's what the NFL is going to start doing. I'm just kidding. We can talk about that part in a minute. But obviously the Bears, Lions, and Packers. From the AFC South, we are going to the Houston Texans, playoff team, the Indianapolis Colts, back to the New Orleans Saints. It's becoming like Seattle. We're going to play Seattle again every year too. Guys, part of the NFC North now for the Vikings are the Saints and the
Seattle.
Seahawks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So from the NFC South, we're going to the Saints, to the Buccaneers, and then the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks, and yet again, another road game in Seattle.
Facing off once again against can't guard Mike.
It's very sensitive.
Offensive player of the year.
I mean, I see it, but I didn't want to agree. We talked about this for all you guys that don't know the context of this in the chat. We went over all the award winners, and I was like, I wasn't mad at what Adam said about him, but the more I looked at it, the more I dive into it, I agree. Michael Thomas is pretty sensitive, man. Especially all that trash he was talking to Viking fans after a loss.
And I'm happy for him, but again, Christian McCaffrey was robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what it is? And I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. It's kind of like the way you could go, like they've done it once before, maybe one time. Maybe it was the NBA. I'm not sure if I'm wrong here, but they gave the MVP to the guy on the losing team. They're going to give it to the guy on the winning side of stuff, or the guy that breaks a record.
Just for clarification, though, if you disagree with me, that means you're agreeing with Booger McFarland. So,
ooh, Captain Obvious. I don't know. I don't
think anyone wants to agree with Booger.
No. You know what? I redact everything I just said.
Is he done after this year? There's no way ESPN brings him back, right?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to do fine.
I got a good idea. Kyle West, you and me, we could do this campaign for it. Why don't we get rid of Booger and send him to make him like the Jacksonville coverage guy? Like, how we always have Charles Davis for everybody.
Yeah.
Why don't we send Booger McFarland to the Jaguars, and we'll just promote Pat McAfee up, and he can start taking his spot on Monday Night Football.
Yes, that would be so good.
We'll be hearing him for XFL.
He can do both. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And NXT.
Mm-hmm.
When is that? It's coming up not this weekend, but the next, right?
No, it's this weekend.
It's on Saturday, man.
Whew. Man.
Lots of former Vikings on that Dallas team.
I've never wanted a filler in my life so bad as I need the XFL this year.
6 of them, right, Adam?
Yeah. 6 former Vikings on that Dallas team.
The wide receiver, Jeff Bidet, right?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's one that I'll be interested to see what he does. I thought he had potential when he was out there from Minnesota and didn't quite crack the roster, but I think he'll do good in the XFL. He's the kind of player that will look good, I think, in that league.
I think I'm going to be rooting for St. Louis, the St. Louis Brock Lesnar chest swords, because that's what their logo looks like to me.
The Brock Lesnar penis tattoo.
Wow.
He has a big old dick on his chest.
It's a sword. Come on.
It is not.
Well, that's a great transition and segue to the Vikings home opponents next year.
What?
What happened? So we went over the road opponents next year. The home opponents in Minnesota, obviously Bears, Lions, and Packers again. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans from the AFC South. From the NFC South, we will be hosting the Falcons again. The Carolina Panthers at home, and the Dallas Cowboys. So some familiar teams from the previous season. Couple new ones bringing in there. The AFC Championship runner-up Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, that'll be fun to watch. Gardner Minshew making an appearance. I don't really know what else. I don't really care about the NFC teams here. The Falcons are bad.
You really think it's going to be Gardner, or do you think they're figure out a way to ditch Foles?
I don't know. Foles look really bad with them. I know the money's going to tie him up there, but I personally want to see Gardner Minshew play, so that's what I'm going to hope for.
Now, the Vikings were lucky to catch the Jaguars at US Bank Stadium because the Jaguars are going to be playing 2 consecutive road games in Mexico, and the NFC North is going to be probably at least one of them, whether it's Detroit or Chicago, because Green Bay also has them at Lambeau. So it's going to be. I think that if I were a betting man, I'd put money on Detroit heading to Mexico to play Jacksonville.
No, it's in Wembley in London, I believe.
Is it London?
Yeah.
I
think so. Yeah, because they should just move that entire team over there.
Right.
Totally against, but it's fine. It's going to happen eventually. I'm just going to accept it.
Vikings fans, cover your ears here for a minute, because I'm going to give some praise to Green Bay very briefly. But with the Packers being one of kind of like the historic franchises of the NFL, and Lambeau Field having all the mystique around it, there's no way they're taking away a Packers home game to ever send them to Mexico or London. Like that's just like never a thing that's going to happen, in my opinion. So yeah, it's definitely going to be probably the Lions or Bears that they send out.
Yeah, Smith is right. It is London, but I think that the London Jaguars sounds proper.
Yeah, it does.
Because they'll say Jaguars, and over here we'll be like Jaguars.
Jaguar.
I'm the only one that's going to sit here and be the grumpy Gus and say I don't want the team to go to London.
Jaguars.
The Jaguars.
Just do it. Does Jacksonville really even care?
No, and Adam said that the other day, and I was like, well, maybe the people in Jacksonville do, but they never sell out a game. It's not that I don't want the NFL to expand. It's the inevitability of the season's going to go to 17 games, which is whatever.
That's stupid.
That's going to be voted on with the new CBA.
London, when teams travel to London, if you guys didn't know that already, they have to have their bye week afterwards. Well, in the new CBA, if they do approve a 17-game schedule, which I think they will, not because the players want it, but the NFL has an extra week of games and money and all that stuff. All they care about is money and ratings. So they're going to have 2 bye weeks. At least that was the plan. I don't know, man. I don't. It's crazy. And then you got to watch it at like a wonky time, like 9 a.m. on the East Coast. I don't want to watch it at 6 a.m. if I'm in California. That's crazy, man. Don't take that away from me. I hate change.
Chicken wings at beer at 6 a.m. Woo.
Yeah, no, that's a good excuse.
Tailgating at 4 a.m.
Oh God. I still remember being deployed when the Adrian Peterson MVP season happened, and I worked at night, and I remember screaming at like 3:30 in the morning because we were going to win the game. I'm thinking if this was anywhere else, they would call the cops on me.
Right.
It's crazy. Well, yeah, those are your opponents next year. We've got a little bit of AFC South. We've got a little bit of NFC South, NFC East and West with the Seahawks and the Cowboys.
A lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, there's some tough opponents there, but as always, there's always rollover. There's always change. And I tell you what, just at a quick glance, I just really want to see them win in Seattle. It's been over 10 years since we've won in Seattle. It's a long time.
So which of those teams will have Tom Brady? That's the question.
None of the above. You know why? Because the Las Vegas Raiders are not on here. Isn't that right? I'm just kidding. He's not going anywhere. Is he? You guys think he's actually going to go somewhere else?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't think he would.
I think so.
I don't think that would be good for his legacy at all.
Sometimes you got to worry less about legacy and more about the old bank account.
Oh, he doesn't have to worry about that.
I've been hearing that he's demanding a pretty healthy year salary.
Yeah, he's took a lot of pay cuts to kind of stay with, do the Patriots thing for him. So
I would too. I'd play
I
for
could see-
peanuts if I could win 6 friggin' Super Bowls. And he's like the richest wife in the world. Come on, man. He doesn't need whatever.
Here-
put it on,
here's the-
put up Zell's tab.
Okay, really quickly, here's the thing, though, too. You can't say that it doesn't bother him that everyone hates Tom Brady. Like, I almost think that he wants to leave New England and go to another team so that, like,
He can prove he's not a system quarterback with Belichick.
and that fan base is going to immediately love him. And if he can win a Super Bowl for some other team, it's gonna. Everyone hates the fucking Patriots, and no one wants to see Tom Brady win with the Patriots. But if he goes to some other team, everyone's gonna love him all of a sudden. So you can't tell me that doesn't a little bit factor into this.
But he should also look, and I hate using this narrative because I've argued it against him because they didn't win their division. Tell me that they don't find someone as mediocre as Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins right in the middle, or Dak Prescott, and plug them in there, and they don't go 12-4, because that's exactly what's going to happen. And then what does it do? It makes you look even worse, because I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to go somewhere else and go all the way, even just to make a Super Bowl with another team, unless you go to the 49ers, unless you're going to go to LA. I don't even think the Chargers would make it. You got to beat the Chiefs and the Ravens and all this. There's no way. It just makes more sense for them to be like, hey, we got a wide receiver and a tight end now in New England. What's your salary? Cool, I've been here forever. Let me give it one more English try. Right off into the sunset. But the thought of him going to another team, it'll be what, 3-4 months from now before that could actually happen? Dear God, can you imagine the media circus when that goes down?
Has anyone been looking at teams that play the Patriots that could potentially need a quarterback? Because I could see
Drew Brees will retire and Tom Brady will go to the Saints.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh God, I'd be pissed.
I think it's funny that Drew Brees has already been saying that he sees what's his name, the utility quarterback,
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, they see Taysom Hill as being the heir apparent, and no real mention of Teddy Bridgewater. So
yeah, what about Teddy?
Nobody cares about Teddy, and it's annoying.
Teddy's got to start wondering if they just see him as a perennial backup or if he's actually going to get an opportunity.
Teddy's a quarterback. The other guy's a good gadget player. I think there's a big difference between the two.
And aren't they the same age, or is Teddy younger? Because isn't Taysom Hill like 31?
Yeah, they're around the same age.
How old's Teddy?
Man. I don't know how you look at that and don't look at the guy who went 5-0 in Drew Brees' absence and be like, yo, we're going to let you start, or at least – I mean, you can plug Taysom Hill, and of course he's a good player, but he doesn't have a full game of playing quarterback. He's got, what, 30 or 40 snaps?
But Teddy also doesn't have a lot of those shock plays, the big yardage, explosive big thing.
Highlight reel.
All you got to do
is a lot less impressive.
Win it. That's all you got to do. It's crazy how he gets overlooked like that. That happened this year. We're talking about this past season. That bothers me a little bit, being a Teddy believer. Just throw him out in the wind because there's 2 or 3 trick plays that worked, and they still lost the game.
Now, the Vikings are in an interesting situation because they've got 1 year left on their big money quarterback. Their backup quarterback is gone again after a 1-year stint.
Oh, darn.
Their rookie quarterback from last year, their undrafted free agent Browning, I don't think I saw enough of him to even know what to think.
No
I've seen people on social media. Are you comfortable with Jake Browning being the backup quarterback? I'm like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know anything about him.
I have to know if you're terrible or not. For at least I know John Mannion's awful.
Right. We established that well.
Adam, are you going with this where I think you're going? Are we talking about a reunion here?
No. I'm talking about the NFL draft.
Oh, you're going to say Case Keenum, aren't you?
No, I'm going to say they go with Taysom Hill, Drew Brees retires, and Teddy Bridgewater comes back to Minnesota. That would love that.
What's that? Teddy Bridgewater takes on the Saints, and the Vikings get Taysom Hill as their backup.
I want Teddy Bridgewater to come here as our backup. That's what I give us a 1 year, but he wants to start somewhere, so I doubt that'll happen.
Teddy deserves the right to start.
I think so. I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah.
At least a chance, you know. I just hope it's not so. Well, it's not going to be that specific team, but remember he was on the Jets for like a weekend, Like,
I'm sure Teddy could do well in Chicago next year.
I don't want to. Oh God, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Ooh. They're going to stick with Trubisky though. Thank you, Chicago. I don't know. I just don't want to go to some crappy team like that and be stuck. Like, it was the Jets there for a little bit. I don't know. I don't want him to be stuck in what used to be the Rams, 10 years ago. That's be in quarterback purgatory, but whatever, man. We love Teddy here.
I feel for the Rams, man. They are overpaying a lot of guys.
Yeah, they had that Super Bowl hangover too. Didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh,
but you mentioned the draft, man. That's main topic number 2, well, at least one of 2 for today. Let's talk about that. The Vikings have the 25th overall pick in the draft after beating the Saints. We went further up in the draft this year. Here it says Minnesota has 1 selection in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th rounds, and 2 picks in the 7th. And we sent a 5th-round pick to the Ravens for Corey Redvick, and got an extra 7th round to the Dolphins in exchange for Danny Isidoro. So that's cool. And,
we did spend that pick.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
To get a holder that couldn't hold.
Oof.
Or kick. or really punt.
Or stay on the team.
Jack of all trades.
Master of none.
What an awful selection that was. Oh, those head scratchers, man.
Now, I did have to add in there that compensatory picks haven't been added in yet.
Right.
Because, of course, there's going to be something added there. We don't quite know what. The Vikings did sign some big-name free agents last offseason, too. So, basically, it was keeping their own guys. And I don't know if that counts against the compensatory pick formula or not, because I have no idea how that formula actually works.
I was just going to say, we say this every offseason. Nobody understands how that works. So please don't ask us questions about it.
I'm gonna piggyback and be the third. We talked about this last year, and we were just like, somebody help. Somebody give us the formula, man. We just want to have something to talk about, and we can't figure it out. I don't understand it.
Nope. And that's okay.
I always just wait for the projected ones to come out, and then if they're close to that, I'm like, oh, okay.
Just we'll let you guys know when we actually get them.
Right?
How about that?
Yeah, we'll keep you up to date on that. But yeah, that's the Vikings. The chances to show up. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks, no 5th round as we just mentioned, but we'll see. A lot is going to happen between now and the draft, which is at the end of April. So about 2.5 months till that happens. Free agencies before then. I think middle of March when free agency goes around. So we'll see some people leave. Maybe
Vikings probably won't be too active in free agency.
No, I don't think that they're going to pick anyone up, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we have somebody we could have as trade bait. I'm not really sure who, but this is going to be one of those really boring drafts, it sounds like, for the Vikings, because they don't have a ton of selections.
Oh, what do you mean boring? We're getting Stephon Diggs' brother, Antoine Winfield Jr. We're getting Randy Moss's son.
Get his brother.
Here it comes.
We're getting all these players, man.
You know what I want? A good guard and or tackle. That'd be great. That'd just be great, wouldn't it?
I could definitely use a guard.
I could definitely use less of Riley Reef.
I'm of the firm belief that if you put a competent player next to him, he can do a lot better than he did this year. Because I was even talking to you guys, showing you some of the tape of how he just had absolutely no faith in the blocking inside, and how he'd lean off his assignment, hoping to double block a little bit, and he can't do it both. He can't. As much as he tries, bless his soul.
So you're telling me that he's not the problem, that Pat Elflein is the problem?
Oh, yeah.
Shocker. We'll hear about Pat Elflein next week.
Now, the Vikings could draft an offensive tackle and move Riley inside. That could be an option. Or they could draft a plain guard. The question is how soon will this need to happen in the draft? And will they see what Riley's getting paid as too much to be a guard for this team at this point, and look to maybe move him, cut him, restructure, whatever?
And then there's also the crazy possibility that the Vikings just go insane and trade up for a quarterback.
I don't think that's that insane.
It's really not. It's like you got Cousins for this year, and then you've got the young rookie to sit underneath him to take over for when Cousins' contract is done.
Yeah, and there's also the 5th-year option. Damn it, I hate you for putting that egg in my brain. Ugh. I don't think they'll do it.
I'm really interested to see what Minnesota does because there's a lot of options on the table.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they could. They would have to work out a way to convert a lot of money to bonuses, but they could work it out in a way that they can restructure Kirk Cousins' contract if they give him an extension, and they could free up quite a bit of cash converting it to bonuses. So I don't know if they're going to be able to go that route. I know that there are other players that have similar contracts. Like I was talking to you guys when Anthony Barr signed his contract. Most of his money on his contract, his guaranteed money is spread out so that it's not going to hurt the team in a big way down the line. Well, if they want to give him a little bit more guaranteed money, shift some of that money over to bonuses, they could effectively lower the cap pretty well. And this is something that Brzezinski's been doing well over the years to be able to free up some cap. So this will be something to watch. I don't think they're going to be able to free up enough cap to get, the high profile free agents like a top cornerback or something, but it'll be something to watch. It'll be enough for them to get under the cap and maybe pick up 1 or 2 contributing players.
Wartag, I don't know that I've seen you in here before, but if you have, welcome back.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him.
Welcome. I don't remember, but that's cool. I'm glad you asked. What are the odds that we cut Rhodes and draft Trevon Diggs? I think Trevon Diggs is going to be a middle of the first round take. That's what I've seen him projected at. I don't know if we're going to cut Rhodes. Adam will tell you more about that. I think we would have to take a significant chunk of change with us and absorb money on that, right?
Well, the problem is that if you do cut Rhodes, you're already looking at you've lost Waynes. Yep. You have a situation with Mackenzie Alexander where you probably can't afford to bring him back. You've already got J-Ron Curse walking.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got another starting safety that Anthony Harris just played out of his mind last year, and he's going to need a big payday if you want him to stick around. How much can you really take away from that secondary?
That's half or more of the secondary gone. Like, it's just going to be Harrison Smith playing both corners and both safeties.
I like a lot of the young guys on that team, but when you've got guys that just continually get in legal problems or get suspended, or people that struggle to stay on the field because of health issues, as much as I like Holton Hill and Mike Hughes, I can't trust them right now.
That'll be interesting. Cut Rhodes, Linval, and restructure Griffin. I don't want to cut Linval. The only one that I would be cool seeing out of that bunch completely walk away is Griffin, and I mean that because the Bill Belichick rule. We say it every week on here. Love Griffin. I think he's great.
Absolutely. Love his energy. He's been great for the team for a lot of years, but
this team has this team has a very big problem drafting quarterbacks, but they have a very good defensive end streak, and I'm okay with them going in the 3rd round and finding another Danielle Hunter.
I think Feedy could be ready to step in as a starter.
We have options there. I don't know. Bob Wells said Hughes can't stay healthy. Yeah, this is an issue. Just going to mention that because he had the ACL and then he was banged up a little bit at the end of this season. So he's really only played a full season in 2 years, which really sucks. He had promise. I liked what I see when he plays, but got to be on the field.
I wonder if they go to Rhodes and do a restructure with his contract. I think more along the lines of a restructure for him.
That'd be really good too. I think, and I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, but what if
he'll boon him though?
Treadwell?
What was that, Adam?
Do you think they'll Alex Boone him?
Maybe.
We're gonna cut you if you don't take this cut and pay.
Why not? Maybe you could have a Treadwell effect where he takes less money, but it motivates him to come back and step in. I mean, I'm not saying that he should get cut and we sign him again, but hey, basically the Boone situation. Hey, man, we want to keep you, but obviously after your performance, we're going to ask for a discounted rate. I think it still shows a little bit of loyalty. It's not fun for him to hear, but I mean, it's the truth. He had a horrible year last year.
Yeah,
but he
I hate when Kyle West goes into auto-tune. That's how it sounds to me. I don't know if it sounds that way to you.
No, it does. He very much has the T-Pain effect.
The crappy internet around here.
Oh, go ahead. Tell us again, though. What did you say?
I was going to say that Rhodes did have a couple decent plays during the playoffs for the Vikings. Yeah.
He looked better there. I don't see him exiting the team. I think they could approach him about a restructure. But yeah, like I said, I don't see them losing that much of the secondary. Freeing up cap, of course, is going to be a priority because honestly, there's two guys they need to sign, and the third that they definitely should. And as I've said, the one that definitely should is Anthony Harris. And the two that they absolutely have to get back are their kicker and their holder.
Oh, yeah.
Because I ain't going down that road again.
Nope.
They found something that works. Please, God, don't play with it.
Well, we got rid of Mike Prefer, so I don't think we're going to have that problem.
Yeah, quite a few changes on the coaching staff. Some of them heading over to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Weird to see the migration. The one that really surprised me the most was Jerry Gray. I believe he went to Green Bay, and I thought that for sure he would stick around with Minnesota and try to make a little bit more of the defense their own. And I don't know. It's just the defensive side is a little concerning that a lot of the assistant coaches are being shifted around, and then they've got the new structure with the defensive coordinators.
Let's talk about that.
It's interesting.
What do you guys think? We know that Mike Zimmer is basically the defensive coordinator for this team,
right?
But co-defensive coordinators, I don't know. What say you?
I think this is weird because one of them is Mike Zimmer's son,
right?
And it's like, I'm going to give you half this job and keep an eye on you.
I mean, is it really that weird though? Because basically what Gary Kubiak did with Kevin Stefanski last year, they just didn't call it that.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's a valid point.
I mean, we saw this last year. I just think, for me, and it sounds really stupid, but it also makes a lot of sense. I think this is just a year-long interview. Hey, whoever comes out here and pulls their weight the most next year, you guys we'll promote you full time, and adios to the other guy. I don't know. It is weird because it's not something you see all the time, but we just did this season on the offensive side, so I'm sure they'll fix that. I don't think that's a long-term plan by any means.
Don't get me wrong. I love that there's going to be a lot more staff there to work with the players, develop what they need to do. Having more staff on hand is usually always a good thing, especially when it's talented staff that's been around the league for a while and is able to bring a lot of knowledge and ability to positions. It opens up spots for newer, fresher positional coaches too underneath that can report. The Vikings have had quite a bit of success in the past with bringing in young coaches underneath coordinators and having them find success in the league.
You know what that says to me? It says Mike Zimmer is always going to have his hand in the cookie jar when it comes to the defense, but it's usually him and the D coordinator alone. With another person, that to me, at least from what I see on the outside, a very, very surface level view of this is he's willing and open, like I said earlier in the show, for more ideas and opinions to get better. And that's what you need. I think evolution in this game is very crucial to staying around and staying current. And if he wants to keep his job, I think he should be open to every idea and any person in the room. So I like it. Like I said, I don't think it's long-term, but who knows? Maybe it'll work.
My main takeaway from all these coaching changes is that pretty much nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
It's stability. It's shifting people around. It's rewarding the people that did their best throughout the season.
Yep.
Honestly, all it really is we're going to see consistency because that's something the Vikings haven't had. What is this like? Is it the third offensive coordinator in 3 years?
Yep.
Is that what they keep saying?
Yep.
I don't think this year is going to be that big of a difference because the offense that's being run isn't going to be a new offense with new terminology. They won't have to change everything like that. Defensively, of course, it's another new defensive coordinator, but also not a lot of changes because they're still running the Mike Zimmer defense. It's familiar faces walking into this position. It's not learning new terminology and new ideas. So, yeah, I don't think that we're going to see a lot of turnover.
I like what Wartag said. He's pretty much echoing what you're saying. Yeah, I think this could be a positive. And God knows for guys like Kirk Cousins not having to change offensive coordinators and the system at least year in and year out. I mean, we talked about that before. Obviously, we knew Sam Bradford had health issues, but didn't he have like 5 offensive coordinators in 5 years?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus
Alex Smith
Christ,
was bad with that, too.
How the hell do you ever keep up? And you got to be super smart and super patient with that kind of stuff. So at least for the offensive side, and I'm sure the defense will be good because, like you said, there's familiarity there, but everybody can take a breather. And what I heard Kirk Cousins say in an interview, I think it was with Mike Florio and Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk, was the good part about that is the sooner we can get out and get to practicing, the better. And if we can take a chunk of that time out because we already know the plays or the system and the routes, all that fun stuff, the schemes, that's more time that we have to go through reps, which is what he said was the most crucial part is doing those reps and getting that practice in. So I like it. I'm excited, but now we got to play the waiting game. This is the worst week of the year, guys. Worst week of the year.
Worse than Pro Bowl week?
No, you're right. Second worst week of the year.
Worse than bye week?
You know what? Colin Cowherd said that recently, wrapping up everything from the season, and he went over 5 changes that he wanted to do. Watched that video last night, and one of them was get rid of the Pro Bowl. Just get rid of it. It's ridiculous.
And while we're at it, let's talk about the NFL honors, because pre-taping that and putting all the winners out before the show airs is stupid.
It's dumb. Also,
I would watch it. I would watch that show. But I already know all the winners and everything else is already on social media. What's the point?
I can't get behind, and I know people are going to crucify me over this and be like, it's a regular season award. Well, then change it for the whole year up until that point. Do it after the whole season. John Harbaugh had a great year, right? You got waxed by the Titans in the first round that you played in. Get out of my face with that Coach of the Year stuff, dude. Get out of Pittsburgh was playing with gas station attendants at quarterback, and they damn near made the playoffs. And look, Kyle Shanahan took a 4-12 team to the Super Bowl. Andy Reid. I mean, all these other – you get out of here with that. I hate the whole thing of it, to include what you said. I hate it. Don't give me announcements right before I'm about to go watch it, too. If you're going to do it, it's on a Saturday? Give it to me on Tuesday the week before, so maybe I forget about it. Don't tweet it out before the damn thing. Come on.
Yeah, I forgot all about them posting the spoilers all over, and I was just searching on Twitter, just scrolling on Twitter and Facebook. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I know who won stuff now.
Well, the other thing, too, is like, this is just me bitching about absolutely nothing, but I hate how they try to script it like it's the Emmys or something. People come out there with pre-scripted lines and then like go back and forth with each other. Stop doing that. These guys are actors and it's so corny and it's so awful to watch. Just stop.
You just described every problem with Monday Night Raw.
We could still be Aaron Rodgers in the office.
That's wrestling.
Yeah.
These guys are characters. NFL players are horrible actors.
So are most wrestlers.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty good acting from some of the football players on the league. Some of those guys did pretty darn good.
I just don't like it pre-scripted, like, at times we have to go through adversity, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, God, here we go, man. Get this 30 seconds over with. All right. Vortex got another question. Would you guys be cool with the Vikings drafting Hurts in the second round if we were able to shore up cornerback or tackle in the first round? Dude, honestly, I don't even know where they're going to go in the first round. This feels a lot like, spoiler alert, best available.
Whoa, hot take.
So far down. Jalen Hurts is a good talent, and he's not injured, and I love his work ethic, but I don't know. It just depends on the value. If he's there by the end of the second round, I would be a little shocked.
It's way too early for me to have any kind of opinion on who the Vikings are going to be actually drafting, when and where, just yet.
I'm with you, though.
I'm watching my cat play with my envelope, and I don't know why He's just flicking it and flicking it and flicking it. I'm sure you guys can hear it probably.
I can hear it. That's fantastic that I know what that is now. It's funny as hell. No, I like Jalen Hurts. Like I said, he played at Alabama. He won a championship with them. He filled in when Tua was out. He went to Oklahoma. They had a great season. He's definitely a pro quarterback. It just depends on if he's going to be a starter forever or a really good backup. I wouldn't be mad if they drafted him, but I don't want him to reach. God, just don't ever Christian Ponder me again. Don't ever do that to me. Just, that's all I ask. If he falls in the second round and they go after him, I won't be mad at all. I would be shocked.
Like I said, you take someone like that in the second, you let him sit for a season or two underneath Kirk Cousins, if that potentially is what they do with him. That's not the worst possible thing to happen.
The only thing shocking about that pick to me would be them actually picking a quarterback that's like evolutionized, because he's very much an athlete. He's more of a Kyler Murray than he is a Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying it's exactly like Murray, but that's more to where he is. He's more athletic and mobile, and I'd be super shocked to see the Vikings go out. I'd be happy, but from the longest time that I can remember, at least for me watching the last decade, it's a lot of pocket quarterbacks. So that would be a shock, but I'd be for it.
Joe Webb.
Ugh.
Yeah, but they took Joe Webb and made him into a pocket quarterback too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hey, what are you good at? Good at scrambling. All right, stand there and throw ducks everywhere.
Yeah. Do it.
Such a mess. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Vikings draft a quarterback. I don't think it's going to be in the first couple of rounds, but when rounds 3, 4 roll around, I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially if a top prospect's fallen.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be perfectly okay too if they something falls, like not even a quarterback, man. This is going to be, I mean, we beat this over the head so many times. This would be a crucial year for Rick Spielman. I'm ready for him to find another Daniil Hunter or Eric Kendricks in the draft, in the middle round somewhere in there, because God knows we need it. There's going to be so much change as far as the roster goes. We have no choice but to nail this draft because we don't have that many picks, as we mentioned earlier. But we haven't even got to the main topic yet, man. We're 45 minutes in. We said this was going to be a short show.
Dunkaroos are back.
We haven't done the awards yet either. So if you guys didn't hear, they announced this last week at some point. I forget when, but former Minnesota Vikings Steve Hutchinson is being elected in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is awesome news. He played in Minnesota from 2006 to 2011. He was a member of the All-Decade team in the 2000s. He was 7-time All-Pro, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler. He started all 169 games in which he played. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Absolutely. If you ever get a chance to, I won't tell the whole story here, but take a look at the story of how the Vikings stole Steve Hutchinson from Seattle. It's a lot of fun.
It's awesome. Didn't they effectively force a rule change?
They did.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, check that out. But the Vikings were able to maneuver some pretty interesting stuff around in that contract and steal a amazing guard. And the fact that this was his third try trying to get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he finally got in. So the video of him getting the knock on the door, they kept him waiting a long time, and he thought that his door was not going to get that knock and that his family was going to have to kind of accept once again that they didn't get what they wanted. But can you imagine that, though, flying out to a hotel as a finalist and standing there with your family knowing that they're going around knocking on doors and just hoping for a knock? Man, that'd be so stressful.
Yeah, that would stress me out.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to see more purple and gold in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's already such a long list of amazing players from the franchise that have been inducted that just seeing more and more of them come in is going to be great. I believe next year is the first year that Jared Allen is going to be eligible. So he'll be a name to watch. There will also be, of course, some of the legacy and inductees that could be there. I still think Jim Marshall will never get in, although he probably should.
He's deserving, but at this point, I don't expect that to happen, sadly.
Chuck Foreman should get in, but he probably won't.
What if it was room service instead? I would be pissed.
That would be amazing. Turn down service. Double meaning.
Hey, sir, get out of my face right now. That was awesome. Yeah, it's good to see another former Viking player get in. I do remember Hutch from the brief time that I started diving deep into the Vikings in the Favre era. So that's really cool. It just makes me feel old, honestly, because he was playing then, and I don't know, man. It just made me feel old. But I'm happy for these guys. Like Adam said, that'd be a really stressful thing to sit around and wait all day for that special moment. But glad to see him get in. There was a lot of news about that, and there's some good names that he's decided to. Troy Polamalu, I believe. Who else? Trying to think from that era. Can't remember off the top of my head. There's some familiar names that you don't think, man, it's been that long since they've been out. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Steve Hutchinson, we named the episode after you. So that's the real honor here. We named an episode after you.
That's right.
You're welcome, Hutch.
Just as important.
We already talked about this a little bit. Let's go over the coaching stuff here. Gary Kupiak is officially named the offensive coordinator, which I'm very, very excited about. Andre Patterson, assistant defensive line coach, and Adam Zimmer as the linebackers coach will do co-defensive coordinator duties, which we've already talked about there. We'll be interested. We'll keep an eye on that, but that'd be fun. Other coaching hires announced by the team include assistant offensive line coach Andrew Janako moving to coach the wide receivers. Durante Jones, he's a former Bengals and Dolphins coach, was named defensive backs coach, and Phil Rauscher, the Redskins and the Broncos, named assistant offensive line coach. You guys gave me a bunch of weird names there, and I don't appreciate it.
You betcha. That's your job to read that.
So you think Gary Kubiak's just keeping that seat warm for Clint?
It seems like it, but
potentially.
So they can get a little bit more of a look at Clint and watch him. And
the question is, how long is he keeping it warm? Because I would be happy if he would ride this out for 2 or 3 years.
Well, Gary's already stepped down from other jobs, saying that he wanted a little bit less of a role and that he kind of wanted a little bit more freedom. And that's why I was surprised to see him step into that role and why I thought it was going to be Clint this year. But if he wants to work with his kid for a little while longer, kind of groom him a little bit more for the job so that when he's finally done, he's got someone to take over. I can work with that.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
I think we're all in agreement there. Makes for really boring podcast stuff, but hey, that's what it is. I answered Wartag's question in there. Do we cut Pat or give him another year? I said rookie deal. He's going to get another year. Remember, Elfline technically switched positions this year as well. So even though I did play some guard before, I believe in college, give him another chance. It's you got to have depth there. Even if he's terrible, we got to have somebody there to take his back up. So
if nothing, having him on the roster provides a floor. And it does. You can compete and bring in some competition and try to raise the ceiling.
Oh,
yeah.
That was, if you guys don't know, because I've dealt with Adam now for probably 6 years, I think it is.
Dealt with.
That's kind of horrible. He graciously invited me to help co-host the show a long time ago. Adam is a very funny and witty and dry humor guy, but that was Adam just backhanding the shit out of Pat Elfman. That was brutal, man. But I loved it because it was funny.
My digs are very subtle.
Woo. He said we at least have a floor.
Yeah, he was not very good. The left side of that offensive line was not great. Josh Klein at right guard, he's locked down for a few more years, so that's settled there. Brian O'Neill still on his rookie deal for a couple more years. We'll have him at right tackle. Bradbury struggled really bad. The problem is that if you look at his Pro Football Focus score, it's really low. That's because 2 of his games were graded a 0. So yeah, that brought him down really far.
Bad.
But over time, his grades got better as the season went on, and I've got a little bit more hope that he can kind of grow and develop into with the center that they need. But that left side of the line, I don't know what they're going to do. I wrote an article over on the Viking Age about how the difference between Kirk Cousins when he's got a clean pocket and under pressure, and why the Vikings need to do something immediately to stop that pressure from leaking in from the left side. And I really enjoyed writing that because it kind of gave a lot of perspective as to how Kirk Cousins was succeeding when he was succeeding, and what the Vikings need to focus on this offseason, and what they're really ignoring if they decide to go somewhere else with it.
Adam, where did you say we could read that?
Over on the Viking Age.
At the Viking Age? Oh, man, it's so weird. We have a banner for that on this. This is crazy. That's so weird that would be there right when you're talking about that.
Yeah, I like the Viking Age. To me, I enjoy being able to share my opinion. It's been a while going, but I'm finally able to be a little bit more bold with how I feel about things. Before, my articles were a little bit dry with a lot of facts and less opinion. And I'm trying to get a little bit more, what's the word that I'm looking for here?
Bold?
No. Maybe
opinionated.
Maybe opinionated without being controversial, I guess.
He did,
because I don't want to write articles just for clicks.
You can get more Pat Elfline burns at thevikingage.com.
But what's nice is I don't know if I can officially announce this yet. Okay, I'll hold off on that. But nothing should be changing on both the Viking Age or Undead Walking. I'm guessing that by now people who read both those sites on Fansided have realized that Fansided was purchased by Minute Media. So we've got a new parent company, but nothing's going to change. We're going to continue bringing you some of the same great, amazing content we always have. And I'm excited to be one of the ones bringing it to you.
Cool.
Yeah, go check out Adam's stuff there. I always try to pump that up for him every single episode that we do here at Purple People Podcast. The more you click and interact there, the more he gets his livelihood, which is really fun because that's how he makes a living. So you guys should check his stuff out.
I like to pay my bills when they come, and if I can't, it makes me sad.
Oh, I think Kyle West does some of that stuff here. Oh man, it's so weird. We have stuff for Kyle West here too.
We do occasionally. You should check my workout over at phantasmdigital.com. We have Purple People Podcast merchandise available. Should you choose to represent us, which you should, because we thank you for that. I also have some other artwork that you can check out, all kinds of different things. There's a link over on the Facebook page. It is the pinned post. So if you follow us over on Facebook, which you should as well too, at the Purple People Podcast, you can find it right over there.
Bam.
Can I get a creepy Thanksgiving themed throw?
You probably could, yes.
Nice. I like it.
I think that's about it. I have nothing to plug because I do nothing but work and sleep. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for interacting today. That was a cool little segue that we usually don't do just to exit the show. A nice little transition there. But yeah, it's the off season officially, guys. The biggest thing coming up is the combine, which is in a couple of weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll give you up to date around the NFL news as it comes. Any major news, like we were talking about Tom Brady earlier. There'll be some movement this year with quarterbacks and fun stuff like that. But as always, we will keep you up to date with Viking news first and foremost here on the Purple People Podcast.
Yeah, we could have some Vikings news. We could have some former Vikings news coming, and some of the XFL players that are doing their thing. Of course, social media is always a lot of fun. Plus, you never know what's going to happen with the Vikings have a pretty young team, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of player retirements or things like that. But as a whole, yeah, you never know. We've seen some surprise retirements even lately. So
true.
Yeah, you got to kind of keep an ear on social media because that stuff can change really quick.
But yeah, go check out all our stuff. Facebook.com/The Purple People Podcast. If you haven't subscribed to this channel on YouTube, subscribe to it. You can hit the notification bell. A lot of people that I know that I pushed to listen to us, they'll do that. And as soon as we go live, like we're doing right now, it'll let you know on your phone or on your computer, and you can chime in real time because we like StreamYard and this platform that we have. So we'd love to have more of you interacting. And if you're made it this far, which I see 4 people are still listening an hour in, do us a favor, share this YouTube channel on your Facebook page. I challenge you to do that. get another one of your Viking fan friends to join in, and we could talk along. We could do cool stuff and
Hey, Adam.
more stuff here.
Remember from posting the podcast on the.
I did. I got banned from posting on the Vikings official Facebook page because I was sharing our podcast on there.
Yes.
They didn't
Good
like
old
that very
days.
much.
No, they did not.
I actually had to send them a direct message saying, "Hey, can you please unban me?"
Did they?
They did.
Hey, that's really good of them. We should see if Mike Wobschall wants to come on. I'm kidding.
Oh God,
He's probably got some free time.
I'm just gonna say right now, I'm not a psychic, but I'll be sick that episode. So
Now, I do want to send out a specific message. This is for you, Lauren. We haven't forgotten about you. I just haven't had an opportunity to package up the Survival League stuff for you. I do fully intend to send you out a nice prize package. I'm just still kind of working on finding everything and putting it together. So I'm sorry it's kind of late, but it's going to be a little while longer. I'm sure you can hold on because it's going to be worth it.
we're both on that front. I got to get that hoodie out or whatever was requested because I forgot. But we will get that done very soon. I'm late to the party. I just sent Kyle West some stuff out, some cool Viking stuff that I bought before Christmas. Adam has one as well, so better late than never. But we'll get that to you. Sorry about that. We'll make that a priority here very soon because not a lot going on in the football community. So gear up for the XFL and stay tuned next week, and we'll be back with another show to update you with current news. And until then, stay classy, Minnesota.